Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing great. So in last class we were discussing about GST, that is goods and service tax. Now let's make a quick revision what we have done in last class and then we are going to move ahead. GST is a goods and service tax. It is a type of indirect tax that I told you. This tax has replaced many other indirect taxes in India, such as excise duty, VAT, service tax, etc. The GST Act was passed in the Parliament on 29th of March 2017 and came into effect on 1st of July 2017. So GST came into force in India on 1st of July 2017. In other words, GST is levied on the supply of goods and services. Goods and services tax law in India is a comprehensive, multi-stage, destination-based tax that is levied on every value addition. GST is a single domestic indirect tax law for the entire country. Before the GST could be introduced, the structure of indirect tax levy in India was as follows. Buying raw material, first of all, before GST, we have to pay VAT. VAT is taxable at every point, and VAT is taxable on the whole amount, while GST is taxable only on the value addition. GST is taxed only on the value addition. That's why GST has removed the cascading effect, which was in previous law. That is, which was in VAT. Cascading effect is tax on tax. Cascading effect is tax on tax. So, in case of intra-state sale, that is within the state, we charge central goods and service tax, and state goods and service tax are charged. And all the interstate sales, that is from one state to another state, sales are chargeable to the integrated GST. All the interstate sales are chargeable to the integrated GST. An item goes through multiple change of hands along its supply chain, starting from manufacture until the final sale to the consumer. Let us consider the following stages: purchase of raw material, then production or manufacture. Then after production, we store the goods in a warehouse. From the warehouse, the goods are sold to the wholesaler. Then the wholesaler sold the goods to the retailer, and the retailer sells to the end consumer. So, बच्चों, when the goods are purchased and from purchase, when it is converted into some product after manufacturing, the value is added. The GST is applicable only on that value added. When we sell the goods to the wholesaler, we add our profit. So GST is applicable only on the value that we have added on it. After that, the wholesaler sells it to the retailer. So whatever value is added, GST is applicable only on that value addition. After that, the goods are sold to the end consumer. Now the tax will be applicable only on the amount which the retailer have added. It means only on the value addition. A manufacturer makes biscuit by a manufacturer who makes biscuits by flour, sugar and other material. The value of the inputs increases when the sugar and flour are mixed and packed in a biscuit. I told you, suppose a manufacturer buys flour and sugar and other materials, all the value of the input increases when sugar and flour are mixed and baked in a biscuit. When the sugar, flour and other materials are baked into a biscuit, the value of that increases. Now GST chargeable only on the value addition. The manufacturer sells this biscuit to wholesaler. The wholesaler who packs the large quantity of biscuit into cartons and labels it. This is another addition of value to the biscuit. After this, the wholesaling agent sells it to the retailer. The retailer packs the biscuit in a smaller quantities and invest in the marketing of the biscuit, thus increasing its value. GST is levied on this value addition, that is, the monetary value added at each state to achieve the final sale to the end customer. Destination based. Consider consider goods manufactured in Maharashtra and sold to a consumer in Karnataka. Since goods and service tax is levied at the point of consumption, because goods and service tax is a destination based destination based tax. The entire tax revenue will go to Karnataka, not Maharashtra government, because goods and service tax is levied at the point of consumption. It is a destination based tax. Chali. Now let's move ahead now. I am sharing another PPT with you. Journey of GST in India. Bachu, the GST journey began in the year 2000 when a committee was set up to draft law. It took 17 years from then the law to evolve. The work on GST has been begun in the year 2000. It took 17 years from then for the law to evolve. In 2017, the GST bill was passed in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. On 1st July 2017, the GST law come into force. Advantages of GST. As I told you, GST has mainly removed the cascading effect on the sale of goods and services. The removal of cascading effect has impacted the cost of goods. Since the GST regime eliminates cascading effects means tax on tax. So GST regime has eliminated the tax on tax. The cost of goods has decreased because the GST regime has eliminated the tax on tax. The cost of goods has decreased. Also, GST is mainly technological driven. All the activities like registration, return filing, application for refund, and response to notice needs to be done online on the GST portal, which accelerates the processes. That's why I'm saying GST is mainly technological driven. All the activities like registration, return filing, application for refund, and responses to notice needs to be done online on the GST portal, which accelerates the processes. What are the components of GST? What are the components of GST? There are three taxes applicable under the GST. Three taxes are there which are applicable under GST. CGST, SGST, IGST. CGST is Central Goods and Service Tax. SGST is State Goods and Service Tax. IGST is Integrated Goods and Service Tax. Now, CGST. It is the tax collected by the central government on an intra-state sale. That is a transaction happening between Maharashtra. It is a tax collected by the central government on an intra-state sale, that is, sale within the state. SGST. It is a tax that is collected by state government on intra-state sale. SGST is also applicable on the sale within the state only. IGST. IGST is a tax collected by the central government or for an interstate sale, that is from one state to another state. If you produce any product in Maharashtra and you sell that product in Gujarat, if you produce any product in Rajasthan and you sell that product in Maharashtra, then IGST will be applicable. Integrated Goods and Service Tax. In most cases, the structure under the new regime will be as follows. Sale within the state, new regime CGST, SGST. In old regime, VAT and service rent, VAT, central excise or service tax is applicable. How the revenue is distributed? Revenue will be equally shared between the center and the state. Sale to another state under new regime, IGST will be applicable. Under new regime, in sale to another state, IGST will be applicable. As per old regime, central sales tax and excise and service tax is applicable. There will only be one type of tax, that is central. In case of interstate sale, the center will then share the IGST revenue based on the destination of the goods. Illustration. Chaliye, let us solve this illustration now. Let us solve the illustration. Let us assume that a dealer in Gujarat has sold the goods to a dealer in Punjab worth rupees 50,000. The tax rate is 18, comprising of only IGST. I am saying a dealer in Gujarat has sold the goods to a dealer in Punjab, that is from one state to another state. The worth of the goods was 50,000. Now, but I told you, if you sell the goods from one state to another state, IGST will be applicable. Rate of IGST is 18%. In such a case, the dealer has to charge IGST of 9,000, that is 50,000 into 18%. The revenue will go to central government. I told you IGST is the revenue that will go to central government. Now, the same dealer sells goods to a customer in Gujarat. The dealer is also of Gujarat, and the dealer sells the goods for rupees 50,000 in Gujarat only. That is sale within the state. If there is sale within the state, then CGST and SGST is applicable. Rate of GST is 12%. Now this 12% will be divided equally between central government and state government. 6%, 6%. The dealer has to collect 6,000, that is 50,000 into 12% as GST. 3,000 will go to central government and 3,000 will go to Gujarat government and state government, since the sale is within the state. Tax law before GST. In the earlier indirect tax regime, there were many indirect taxes levied by both state and central government. But I told you that before GST, there were many indirect tax that is levied by state government and central government. State mainly collects tax in the form of VAT. Every state has a different set of rules and regulations. Interstate sale of goods was taxed by the center. CGST was applicable in case of interstate sale of goods. That is CGST, CST, Central Sales Tax. The indirect taxes such as the entertainment tax, octroi, local tax were levied together by the state and center. This lead to a lot of overlapping of taxes levied by both the state and the center. For example, when goods were manufactured and sold, excise duty was charged by the center. Over and above the excise duty, VAT was also charged by the state. Over and above the excise duty, VAT was also charged by the state. It led to a tax on tax effect, also known as cascading effect of tax. And GST has removed this tax on tax effect, that is cascading effect. Following is the list of indirect taxes. See how many indirect taxes were there. So many indirect taxes were there. Central excise duty, duty of exercise, additional duties of exercise, additional duties of custom, special duty, special additional duty of custom, state VAT, central sales tax, purchase tax, luxury tax, entry tax, entertainment tax, taxes on lottery, betting, gambling, etc. CGST, SGST, and IGST have replaced all the above taxes. However, certain taxes such as GST levied for the interstate purchase at a conventional rate of 2% by the issue and utilization of Form C is still prevalent. It applies to certain non-GST goods, which are non-GST goods: petroleum crude, high-speed diesel, motor spirit, natural gas, aviation turbine fuel, and alcoholic liquor for human consumption. It applies to the following transactions only. It applies to the following transactions only. If you resell, used in manufacturing or processing, used in certain sectors such as telecommunication network, mining, generation and distribution of electricity, or any other power sector. चलिए. Now let us move ahead now. I'm sharing another PPT with you. How has GST helped in price reduction? But I told you, by introduction of GST, cascading effect of tax on tax has been eliminated. Earlier, when there was this cascading effect of tax on tax, the prices of goods increases. But when we do not have to pay tax on the tax, automatically the price of goods will decrease. So during the pre-GST regime, every purchaser, including the final consumer, paid tax on tax. This condition of tax on tax is known as the cascading effects of taxes. GST has removed the cascading effect. Tax is calculated only on the value addition at each stage of the transfer of ownership. Tax calculation in earlier regime. Action cost tax rate at 10% invoice. Let us see. Tax calculation earlier regime. It means tax calculation, how tax is calculated before GST. How tax is calculated before GST. That is given in this. How tax is calculated before GST. Manufacturer. The cost of manufacture is 1000, and he has to pay tax at the rate 10%, that is rupees 100. So total invoice value was 1100. Now the manufacturer add label and repack at 300. Now the manufacturer will sell the product as 1400. He has to pay tax on the complete 1400. But bachcho, out of the 1400, I have already paid tax on 1100. Now again I am paying tax on complete 1400. It means I am paying tax on tax. This is known as cascading effect. So 1400 into 10%, 140. Invoice is 1540. Now reseller add a profit of 500. The cost is now 2040. Now out of this 2040, we have already paid tax on 1540. Again I am paying tax on this 1540 plus 500 and 2040. So I am paying tax at the rate 204. But out of this 204, 1400 rupees tax on 140 I have already paid. Now the invoice value is 2240. Total 1800 cost. Tax is 444. Total amount 2240. The tax liability was passed at every stage of the transaction, and the final liability come to rest with the consumer. Obviously, the tax burden of indirect taxes fall on the shoulders of consumer only. This condition is known as the cascading effect of taxes, and the value of the item keeps increasing every time this happens. Every time there is cascading effect, that is tax on tax, the value of item will keep on increasing. Now, tax calculation in current regime, that is GST regime. Let us calculate the tax under GST regime. What GST is saying? Manufacturer cost is 1000, will pay the tax of 100, invoice value is 1100. Now the wholesaler will add 300. Now the wholesaler has paid tax only on 1300, not 1400, because out of this 1400, 100 is the amount of tax, and GST is not charged on the tax. That's why I'm saying the cascading effect of tax on tax has been removed. Out of this 1300, the tax rate is 130. Out of this 130, he has already paid rupees 100 tax. Now he will pay tax at the rate 30. Now retailer has add the profit. Now the price of product is 1800. Tax is 180, but out of the 180, retailer has already paid 130. Now he will pay only 50. Now you will see that tax is, we are only paying tax of 180, but in previous regime we are paying tax at 444. Now we are paying less tax. Prices of goods are decreased. In this, the price of goods is 2224, and here the price of goods is 1980. In case of GST, there is a way to claim the credit of tax paid in acquiring input. The individual who had already paid a tax can claim credit for this tax which he has submitted in his GST return. So, if you have paid any tax on the on goods and services, then you can claim the refund or you can claim the deduction from the GST which you have to pay. In the end, every time an individual is able to claim the input tax credit, the sale price is reduced and the cost price for the buyer is reduced because of lower tax liability. You can also see, because there is no cascading effect, the cost for the buyer has been reduced. The final value of the biscuit is therefore reduced from 2244 to 1980, thus balancing the tax burden of the final consumer. Obviously, so this was your GST. GST is goods and service tax. It is an indirect tax. GST is goods and services tax. It is an indirect tax which has removed many indirect taxes which were previously there. So this is GST. Now let us start a new topic. I'm going to start a new topic now. Sharing the PPT with you. What is environmental law? बच्चों, environmental law is the law that is made to protect the environment. Sir, what is environment? Environment, in environment everything is included. Air, water, plants, animals, land, everything is environment. So environment law is the collection of law, regulations, agreement and common law that governs how humans interact with their environment. Environment law governs how humans will interact with their environment. The process of environmental law, the purpose of environmental law is to protect the environment and create rule for how people can use natural resources. The purpose of environment law is to protect the environment and create rules for how people can use natural resources. Environmental laws not only aim to protect the environment from harm, but they also determine how can use natural resources on what terms. बच्चों, environmental law not only aim to protect the environment from harm but also determine the rule how to use the environment, how you are going to live in the environment. For example, you should not spread the pollution. You should keep the water clean. You should not kill the animals. All these are rules which is done to protect the environment. Laws can regulate pollution, the use of natural resources, forest protection, mineral harvesting, animal and fish population. In the Constitution of India, it is clearly stated that it is a duty of the state to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. In the Constitution of India, it is clearly stated that it is the duty of the state to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. It imposes a duty on every citizen to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife. Reference to the environment has also been made in the directive principles of state policy as well as the fundamental rights. The Department of Environmental has established in 1980 to ensure a healthy environment for the country. This later became the Ministry of Environment and Forest in 1985. So, बच्चों, the Constitution of India it is clearly stated that it is a duty of state to protect and improve the environment and to protect and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. It imposes a duty on every citizen to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, river, wildlife. Reference to the environment has also been made in directing principle of state policy as well as fundamental rights. Department of Environment has established in India in 1980. बच्चों in 1980 a Department of Environment was established in India to ensure a healthy environment for the country. This later became the Ministry of Environment and Forest in 1985. The constitutional provisions are backed by a number of law, act, rules and notifications. The Environment Protection Act 1986 came into force soon after the Bhopal gas tragedy and is considered an umbrella legislation as it fills many gaps in the existing laws. Environment Protection Act 1986 come into force soon after the Bhopal gas tragedy and is considered as umbrella legislation as it fills many gaps in the existing law. Thereafter, a large number of laws came into existence as a problem has begun arising. For example, handling and management of hazardous waste rule in 1989. Why do environment law regulate? Environment law covers a wide range of topics including the following. Environment law covers a wide range of topics including the following. Land population, water population, air pollution, noise pollution. Land pollution, water pollution, air pollution and noise pollution. We are going to discuss all these four types of pollution in detail in one by one. Okay. Land pollution. What is land pollution? But so land pollution is the disposition of solid or liquid waste material on land or underground in a method that can contaminate the soil and groundwater, threaten public health, and cause unsightly condition and nuisance. So land pollution is the dirt on the land. You throw plastic after eating chips. You throw bottles of cold drinks here and there. You throw papers. You throw garbage on the land. All this comes under land pollution. Because of that, the soil gets contaminated. Even the water under the soil also get contaminated. Because of that, because of land pollution, many diseases arise which threaten public health. This is what land pollution looks like. See how many huge amount of dirt, huge amount of waste is there on the land. This is a major cause of land pollution. Causes of land pollution: regenerative actions. It include a lot of human actions like deforestation. In deforestation, you cut down the trees from the forest and use the trees for making woods, for making table, chair, etc. Because of that, if you cut down the tree from the ground, the land will automatically get polluted. Overuse of pesticide and chemical fertilizers. बच्चों, when a farmer do farming or grow any crops, he uses pesticides and chemicals. Because of that, the land gets polluted. Even the water under the land gets polluted. Desertification, mining, inefficient and inadequate waste treatment, landfill litter, etc. Many of these are unavoidable. However, definitely the severity of these actions in terms of the effect they have on the land can be reduced by taking appropriate and adequate action. Most of this, many of this can be avoided. You have to take appropriate and adequate steps to control land pollution because it will ultimately going to harm you. If you pollute the land, it will increase more and more diseases. If there is more and more diseases, then obviously it is going to affect your health. Misuse of land mainly refers to cutting trees to clear land for agriculture as well as processes like desertification and land conversion. Desertification is when effect of human development or other action convert a piece of fertile land into a desert land or dry land. Land once converted into dry land can never be reclaimed by the amount of corrective measure. But so when you convert a fertile land into a desert land, that desert land can never be claimed by any amount of corrective measure. Soil pollution. When the topmost soil layer of land is destroyed, when the topmost soil layer of land is destroyed or polluted, soil pollution again, soil pollution is again another cause. Soil pollution is again another cause of land pollution that affect not only the land but a lot of other things such as forest cover our region, productivity of land in terms of agriculture, grazing, etc. Soil pollution is also caused by wrong agricultural practices such as overuse of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc. All these are causes of all these are causes of soil pollution and ultimately which will cause land pollution. Overuse of chemical fertilizer, pesticide. बच्चों, I tell you, because of this chemical fertilizer pesticide which farmer uses, there is huge amount of land pollution. Instead of that, we should adapt organic farming. In organic farming, this much amount of fertilizer and pesticides are not used, and we can save our land from get polluted. Land conversion. When a piece of land is converted from its indigenous form to a form used for either agriculture or infrastructure, land conversion is especially a growing problem that we possibly do not have a good solution. Using a piece of land to its maximum potential is the key to eliminate many of the causes of land pollutions, such as this one. As you can see, this is a major cause of land pollution, land conversion. When, as you all know, that population is growing day by day, but we have limited resources for the population to stay, and because population and industries are growing day by day, we have to use the land of forest also. We are cutting down the forest and using that land, and ultimately because of this, land is getting polluted day by day. Others key causes of land pollution include urbanization, improper waste disposal, industrial activity, nuclear research, chemical released by all sorts of heavy industries, coal, fired power plants, metal production industries, etc. So, what I told you, as the population is increasing, we need space to accumulate that population. Also, industries are increasing day by day. Now for residential purpose and for industrialization, we'll be requiring land. And what we are doing, we are cutting down the forest and using the land. If this continues, if we keep continuing cutting the forest and using the land pollution will keep on increasing. If the land pollution will increase, there will be lot of disease which will cause human health, and ultimately the human may die because of those diseases. So we have to take appropriate measures so that we can control land pollution. We should not throw anything, any garbage on the road. Instead, we should throw the garbage in the dustbin. We should not throw garbage like we eat chips and throw on the road, or we consume the cold drink, or anything we consume, we throw the garbage on road. We should not throw the garbage on road. Instead, we should throw the garbage in a dustbin. Nowadays, you all see that Modi government is running a very good abhiyan. That is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan that is run by Modi government. And trust me, now people are more concerned for pollution. People are now not throwing garbage here and there. Instead, they are throwing the garbage in dustbin so that the government can properly dispose that garbage. So Modi government has taken a very good initiative to control the pollution, that is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and every person in India is taking participating in this, which is a very good thing. So government is taking appropriate measure. You should support government. You should not. You should keep the country clean. Instead, you should keep throw the garbage in some dustbin or anything like that. Okay. So, बच्चों, today we have discussed what is GST, what is environmental law. These two topics we have covered today. GST we have already started. In GST we have moved a bit further. Now environmental law. In environmental law we have covered land pollution. Now in next class I am going to tell you what is air pollution, water pollution, and noise pollution. Okay. So now let us do some illustrations. I am sharing the PPT with you. But you please try to attempt these MCQs with me, because the MCQs will help you in getting a clarity on the topic, as well as your complete topic will get automatically revised. That's why at the end of every class I try to give you some MCQs, so that when you will attempt these MCQs, your whole topic will automatically get revised. Plus, MCQs will also give you a clarity on that topic. Let's see now. GST stands for A. Goods and Sources Tax. B. Goods and Service Tax. C. Gift and Service Tax. D. None of the above. The answer is B. Goods and Service Tax. GST stands for Goods and Service Tax. Goods and Service Tax is a indirect tax, B, direct tax, C, none of the above, D, both. बच्चों गुड्स एंड सर्विस टैक्स इज अ indirect tax. In case of intra-state sale, that is within the state. Intra-state sale means within the state, dash is charged. GST, yani goods central CGST, central goods and service tax. B, SGST, yani state goods and service tax. C, both A and B. D, IGST, integrated goods and service tax. The answer is C, both A and B, central goods and service tax and state goods and service tax. So in case of intra-state sale, that is sale within the state, both CGST and SGST will be charged. Consider goods sold in Maharashtra, goods manufactured in Maharashtra and sold in the sold to the final consumer in Karnataka. Goods manufactured in Maharashtra and sold to a final consumer in Karnataka. Since the GST is levied at the point of consumption, the entire tax revenue will go to, which I told you, GST is a destination based tax which is levied at the point of consumption. The entire tax revenue will go to Maharashtra, Karnataka, both or none. The entire tax revenue will go to Karnataka because the goods are ultimately consumed in Karnataka. GST journey began in the year 2001, 2002, 2003 या 2000. बच्चों, the GST journey has been begun in the year 2000. It took how many years from then for the law to evolve? 17 year, 18 year, 19 year or 20 year? The answer is it took 17 years from them from then for the law to evolve. On dash, the GST law came into force on 5th July 2017, 1st July 2017, 10th July 2017 or none. The answer is on 1st July 2017 the GST law came into force. GST has mainly removed the dash on the sale of goods and services. What GST has removed? Cascading effect, burden, none or both. The answer is GST mainly remove the cascading effect on the sale of goods and services. It is collected by the dash for an interstate sale. In interstate sale is collected by central government, state government, none or both. बच्चों, it is a tax collected by interstate sale that is collected by central government. That is from one state to another state. What my point? Please everyone take a photo of these MCQs and try to attempt these MCQs. Please everyone take a photo and you all have to try to attempt these MCQs. Take a photo and try to attempt these MCQs. I'm again and again saying you to attempt the MCQ because the MCQ will help you in getting the clarity on the topic, as well as your whole topic will automatically get revised when you do MCQs. So try to attempt these MCQs, take a photo or a screenshot, whatever. So, Bacho, I hope you all have understood what is GST and environmental law. In next class, we are going to discuss air pollution, water pollution, and noise pollution. Okay. So, thank you all for joining. Please, everyone, take care, stay safe, stay healthy.